Hi everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. Now we're going to get into some more fun-filled AutoCAD stuff. About a year ago, a user or a subscriber actually asked me about how to draw a circular floor plan. And unfortunately I didn't see the comment until recently. And well, I thought it'd be a really great thing to do. So I wasn't really too sure exactly if they were wanting to trace this or not. But I'll show you what I'm going to do anyway. So this is the plan that they were talking about. Something like this. They wanted to understand how to draw a circular floor plan. So what I'll do is I will actually bring this into AutoCAD. So I've got AutoCAD here. The first thing I need to do is open the image manager. So I can type the letters IM for image manager. Now there's a little drop down thing up here. I'm going to select attach image, left click. Okay, and then I'll just click on open. It's going to ask me all this stuff here, full path, all that sort of stuff. But now it really doesn't matter for what we're doing. So I'll just click OK. It's going to ask me to specify a point. And I'm just going to click there, and I'm just going to use my mouse to the side, stretch it, because when I first insert the image I'm still going to have to scale it anyway, so it doesn't really matter what scale I've set it to. Now I generally work in metric because I'm in Australia and that's what we work with, and this is drawings in imperial. So what I'm going to do is just convert that. So if you can see up here, it's 50 feet diameter. That's the DIA for diameter, and 1,964 square feet. That's not so important. But what I'll do is I'll just get my calculator out here. I've got it already here. So in case somebody doesn't know, I'll show you how I generally do this. If you don't really know the numbers, there's 12 inches in a foot. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert this to metric. So 12 inches, then I'll times that by 25.4 millimeters. And the reason being, each inch is actually worth 25.4 millimeters. So that gives me how many millimeters there is actually in a foot. It's 304.8 millimeters. Now if I times that by 50, that's the actual dimension in millimeters, 15,240, or 15 meters, or 15.24 meters. So knowing that, I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to change it to red, you can see it. And I'm going to roughly get that in the middle. It should hopefully be somewhere in the middle of this drawing here. Okay, it's a little bit off, but it's close. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this a little bit down. Yeah, it's a little off still. Okay, there is a few different ways to get around that. For instance, if this drawing is actually centered inside this image, what I can do is I can start a line command and snap on from there to there, and then I can take this and move the center point to the center of that line. But as you can see, unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be actually centered in the middle of that drawing, because look how far off it is now. Anyway, that is a method that you can do if it's, if it is actually centered. So for now, I'm just going to look at that. And to scale this up, I'm going to select all of it, just using my mouse button and dragging over it all. And I'm going to select by left clicking on that blue grip down the bottom there. And then I'm going to press the space bar. As you can see down here, it's adding the scroll. I can just press it a few times till it says scale. And when it says that, I'll type the R command, but I don't press space. And it's going to ask me for a reference length. So what we want to do is we want to click again on the red dot. That's the first point, and that's the other point. So now it's got a reference, and now it's going to actually ask me what the new length is going to be. If I just go back to, I think it was 15,240. Yes. All right. So now it's going to type in 15,240, and then that is actually now scaled to the metric. As you can see, it's still a little off. It's probably not going to be a huge deal for this particular thing. Yeah, it's close. It's close. And what I might try and do here, okay, is actually, yeah, I'm going to use the red line because it's a bit hard to see without drawing sometimes with the white. But what I can do now is I can actually use the offset command. So if I type O for offset, I make sure I press the F3 key to turn on snaps. And try and find a spot to do this. Actually, I might turn the F3 off because where it's snapping to, I'm not actually, I was going to snap it from one of the snap points on the circle, but I'm just going to do it from roughly clicking it here by eye. So click from here, and then I'll turn on F3, click to there. Okay, so now I've got a reference length, or width, should I say, for the wall. So now I'm going to click on the shape and then move my mouse towards the direction I want it to go, and then left click again. And that is the thickness of our wall. So what I can also do here is I'm going to select that inner circle. It doesn't really matter if it's the inner one or the outer one. I'm going to left click on the grip again, so it's red. That's actually called a hot grip when it goes red. And now the stretch commands you can see down the bottom here is currently on. So I'm going to type C for copy. So I want to stretch a copy, and then just use my mouse to roughly work it out there. And I think the wall's a little thinner, so I'm just going to do it again by eye. There we go. So it's pretty close. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line from here to here. Select here, and I'm going to select in the middle, so it's a hot grip again. I'm going to press my space bar, scroll through, move, rotate, and then I'm just going to move my mouse around to roughly where I think it should be. There. Okay, and then left click. Now I can type TR for trim. I'll select that line as my reference line, press space, and then I can just drag over those lines there. Because I haven't got this version of AutoCAD I haven't fully set up. So it's because the lines are not actually touching that line, it won't trim. There is actually a thing you can do to get around that, and it's if you type TRIMODE, press space, and it's got a setting of 1. If I change that to 0, and now I try and trim, so TR for trim again, select that line, press space. Yes, that's not working, that one. So, yes, it's edge mode. So ED, edge mode, change that to 1, okay. It's been a little while since I had to change that setting. I'm just trying to see the little mouse thing here. There we go, so that's the one we wanted, edge mode. And what I can do then, is type EX for extend, select the outer circle, and then just click on the line here. And then we can trim, so TR, and press space, and then select the line in the middle. Right, so there we go, we've got that wall there. The others will be kind of the same, because we've got this circular wall here, so again we can select the circle, make that a hot grip, and then start dragging down, but we want to press C and space first, so making a copy of that. Click there, and click again. And as you can see, there's still a bit of a curve there for these parts here. And I'm trying to see if there's any other circular part I can see now. I think we've covered that for now. Okay, so again, we can create a line, and as I put my mouse near the circle, we should be able to snap onto the middle of the circle. Now if you can't, there's a couple of different ways you can do this, because there's various different snap modes. If yours is not snapping to the circle's center, like this one is, you can either hold down your shift key and then click your right mouse button, and down here you'll see you'll have an option of different snap points, and you can click on center. So sometimes you've got to move your mouse towards the arc again, and I can click on that, and then I can just draw a line right that way, Okay, and there. That's one way to do it. And the other way is, I've just pressed escape twice, I'm out of any command. If you type OS, and when that screen comes up, if you're on the object snaps, you can then select which snaps you would like to have on. These are all the ones I have on. You might have different ones that you like or don't like. Yeah, so it's a personal choice really. But setting it there means it's always going to be on unless you turn it off with the F3 key. So as you can see, I'm having a little trouble there trying to see that. I can actually, if I'm having trouble too seeing something on the screen, what I can do temporarily, if I type OP and go to, sorry, display is where I want to be, change colors. I can look at the crosshairs here and I can change that to another color. So I'll change that to black for now. Just click apply. And as you can see, there we go, much better. And although that line looks like it's right on there, you can see there's a go gap there. So it's, yeah, I think the problem here is because it's still not quite centered. That's where the problem's coming in. Now, I would imagine these wall thicknesses should be the same thickness. So I'm going to type O again for offset. I'm going to select there to there. And then I'm going to use that line to create the wall thickness. And I'm going to make that a hot grip again. Stretch that. Make a copy, C for copy. And appears to be about there. As you can see, it is a little off. Yeah, and you can even see it there. You're going straight up, but it's not quite. Yeah, not quite on there. Okay. I'm just going to go around and roughly click on those. I'll just do one side, that way I can offset the wall. If we had some dimensions on here, we could really do this a lot more accurately, but we've only got a couple of, well, here we've only got the 50 foot diameter, and that's pretty much it. All the rest is just how many square feet. So it's approximate. Okay, you can see that's going a little bit off there, I think. Not too sure if that's actually supposed to line up inside there, but I think it is. I think everything's going towards the center of the circle there. Okay. So I press end that command. Now I'm going to offset again. So offset that line. That line. Because then basically once we've done this, it's just, oh, we've missed one there. It's a case of just trimming, you know, possibly filleting bits and pieces to make the walls. Yeah, we missed another one there too. That's okay. Make a hot grip again. C for copy. And there we go, the other one's over here. And here, I'm just starting another line after I finish that command. I'm going to press my F8 key, so it goes down. And what I'll do, and I'll come back to that, I'll show what I'll do in a moment with that. Now this here looks like it's about probably 45 degrees. We'll see. If I rotate this, so select the line, select the grip again, press a space, and then type 45. I'm going to type that again and this time do 90 degrees. Okay, so it looks like it is about a 45-degree angle. So what I'm doing here, I'm just moving this, so to move, you can either type M for move, and select, go there. I use different methods depending on what I'm used to, and also depending on what I'm trying to do. It's actually an interesting thing. I remember many years ago, a very much earlier version of AutoCAD, maybe it was 2007 from memory, or 2008, they changed how things worked. I don't think a lot of people actually remember it, but there's certain things that used to work a certain way that just do not work that way anymore, which is quite frustrating. That's the nature of Autodesk, I think, sometimes. So I'm just going to draw a line approximately there. That way I can just EX for extend, select that, press space, and then click that one, extend up there. Yeah, I think a lot of software companies are known for doing that. They just change things on people because they tell us this is what's better for you. But it's not good when you're someone's been using something for a very long time and then things don't work the way you want them to. Okay, so type O for offset again. Press F3 to turn on my snaps. So I've been turning it on and off, and then I'll just click there. Yeah, that's a little off, that one. That's okay. So we'll just move that. So I can type M for move. Oops. Got to do the offset command again just a moment. A little too far. So with my channel too, I'm very welcome to anybody who has suggestions for tutorials that they would like. Unfortunately, as I said, the person who actually asked me about this one, I didn't see it for a year, just over a year I think it is. But I thought it was worthwhile doing anyway, and maybe they'll still come back and get some benefit out of it. So you can either send me a direct message. We can move this one down here, or you can email me. And my email is just on my YouTube channel. So you go to the my channel page. I think it's under About. That's where they usually keep that. So I'm going to grab these two and just move. So made a hot grip. Press the space bar once, so it says move down the bottom here. And press C for copy. So what AutoCAD used to do was using these hot grips. I'll give you an example. I know I'm getting a bit off track here, but just so I remember. If I had a line, and I selected it, I used to be able to select it so I can move it here, but as soon as I wanted to move a copy, that's stretching a copy. I'm just trying to remember exactly what it was. I think it was moving between 2 points or something. Anyway, it was something along those lines. I can't remember what it is exactly, so I've sort of ruined that a bit there, but there is actually, there's something about when you grab from the middle point, it would just stay in the same spot, and it'll come back to me what it was, but I haven't used it for a little while. Okay, so I think those walls are good. Alright, go to this one. We'll offset again. So offset, pressing F8 to roughly get that perpendicular. Now here, what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to measure. So use dist command, DIST. I'm going to press F8, and it's about 133. I'll say 130, much easier. So if I half that, that's 65 mil. So if I offset and I'll type 65, and then I'll select this. So that's where it should be. I mean, I know it's a bit off, but that's where it should be. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line up this way. Then I'm going to use the dist command again. I measure from this point to here. Okay, what I'll do is I'll offset actually. I'll type O for offset. I'm going to measure that distance from there to there, and then offset from that side. That way I know it is center. And here there's an interesting thing going on. So that's whether it's a curve or a straight line, I'm not really sure. What I'll do is I'm going to grab that grip, and I'm just going to move my mouse down and click. Press L for line again. I'm going to turn off F8. And I'm also going to press my F3 key so it doesn't snap onto anything like it is now. And I'll put that around there. It's about right. I'm not really sure that's supposed to be a curve or not. And I'm going to do another line. This time I'm going to turn F8 back on. My ortho. And then what I can do is I can grab this line. And grab those. Well, I already got that one, but I'm going to left click on that grip, press space, press space, press space, and one more time. And as you can see, with the mirror on, and I type C for command, and move my mouse up, you can see it move around. We've got that other on the other side now. And here, I'm just going to draw a line from here to here, and I can offset that, or I can just make a copy up there. Okay, so we've got a lot going on there, haven't we? What we'll do is we'll trim TR, and we can likely trim from this line. And what else we got here? Okay. So here we use it. I'm going to end the trim command by pressing space. I'm going to start it again by pressing space again. I'm going to select that line, press space, and trim that out. And I press space again. Trim command, space to turn it on again. Select this line. Space. Trim these lines. End the command. Start a new boundary. Press space. So let's go around doing that trim command over and over again. Alright, so we're getting somewhere. So if you ever wanted to turn off your image for a moment, there's a couple of different ways to do that. I open up the image manager again. I can right click on the image and I can just unload it. That's one way to do it. And reload. Close that for a moment. The other way is to actually just put it onto another layer. So if I create another layer, so I'm going to click on the layer manager and I can just put image. And I'll close that, select it, and then move the image to there. And then I can just turn it off. That's another way to do it as well. But you can see we're starting to get somewhere with it. So essentially a lot of it now is just trimming. There's a wall there too. Those ones aren't coloured in. I'm just going to leave those with it. I know that they're a little bit off, but I'm just going to leave those and use them as well. I've certainly worked on some very complicated projects before. This one's certainly not, in my view, complicated at all, but I remember working on one building where every single wall was on a different angle. Everything, absolutely everything. Circles, everything. Just, and it was incredible. But it was good. It's good for the mind, I guess, to some degree. Yeah, for me now, I've done enough. A couple of decades of doing that sort of stuff, and for a much simpler life now. Oops, I want to save anything. Alright, so one more there. And we're going to offset this one here too. So what I'll do is I'll turn on F3 key and I'll press F8 key so I can roughly get that there. Offset that wall. I'm just going to draw a line from over here somewhere. Looks a little off, so there we go. And we're going to move a copy of that to there as well. Thereabouts. So what I can do now is I might use the fillet command a little bit. So I'm going to type F for fillet. And the first thing I usually do here is type R for radius and just make sure it's zeroed. So I'm going to type 0 anyway. And we're having a little trouble there for some reason. So I'm not sure why that is actually. I'll just type TR for trim. That does happen sometimes with the fillet thing. It's a bit like that with AutoCAD hatch as well. It's sometimes I was going to type it doesn't work. I'm going to change this trim mode thing for a moment. See if that helps. Yeah, so I just changed trim mode back to 1. I changed it earlier. Yeah, I couldn't quite remember. I said I normally have a different version set up, which is already done. And once I have it set, I don't generally go back to it for a while. So that's all it was. Just had to, oops, just had to change trim mode to 1. So many settings. There's like literally thousands of settings inside AutoCAD. It's actually a very powerful program. I know that people are really into this Revit nowadays, but quite honestly, I would never use it. I mean, I have used it. I've done training in it and everything like that, but pretty much every not just architect I know, but anyone who's got anything to do with detailing, any kind of drawing, they'll just, they won't use it. And that was my biggest thing too. It just, for someone who's really into detailing, it's fine if you've got basic stuff, but maybe it's gotten a lot better over the years since I last used it, which wasn't that many years ago. But honestly, it just felt so cumbersome in so many ways. And I know some people might feel that way with AutoCAD. I mean, if you've got a tool and it's working for you, that's great. But for me personally, it was so limiting. It was just pretty much unusable. And extremely frustrating to use as well. But look, I'm not trying to put it down. I think what they're trying to do there has been, it's a good idea behind it. But there's another program as well called Architectural Desktop, which I think now is called AutoCAD Architecture. I think that's still around. And in my view, that was a superior product because it was sort of combining the best of AutoCAD with Revit. And because Revit, from memory, wasn't written by Autodesk originally. I believe they bought that out from another company. That's what I've been told. Because Autodesk had their own product, called ADT, Architectural Desktop was the thing they used to have. I'm just going to save this temporarily. Right, just save it there for a moment. And it was good. It was kind of worked a bit like Revit did, and but they sort of went with the Revit thing. And the thing is too, I mean, I've actually worked with people who are pretty much professional at Revit, and some things just take so long to do. I mean, and it's not accurate at all. It's just, I mean, I don't care what anyone says, it's just not an accurate program. Aspects of it are, but not all of it. So, doing certain roof plans and stuff. I remember when I was doing the training, you had to use your mouse keys to move it into place, and I thought, gee, that's just unacceptable, and I'm trying to think what else I wasn't happy about. There wasn't a number of things. What I'm going to do here, actually, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drag that one back into the center line because there's these little parts here that's come out just a little bit. So I'm going to stretch, copy this there. And actually, that angle looks different there, so I'm just going to draw that in. yeah, I was saying some things I could do a lot quicker on AutoCAD. I mean, vice versa. I'm sure there's things you can do an awful lot quicker on Revit as well than AutoCAD. But when I really got into programming with AutoCAD, that's when I really saw its power. You know, what you could get it to do. I've written a lot of programs for myself over the years, and it's certainly a lot faster than what other people can do. I was getting off my point there. Yeah, so I worked with somebody who was pretty much a pro at Revit. They could just do everything with it. They knew it inside out. And they told me that you can do anything with Revit that AutoCAD can do. So I put them to the test, and they actually had to admit, yeah, well, actually there's a lot of things you can't do then. Because although they're good at it, they hadn't had as many years experience in the industry as me. And I'm not saying I'm better, just how it is, you know. So when I sort of pointed that out to them, and they admitted that, yeah, okay, it can't do, you know, a lot of things in that regard. And I remember I had a friend who did a course in it too, as a steel detailer, and he asked the teacher too, the instructor, a lot of things, and you know, he found it pretty unacceptable too, about how you had to sort of go about doing things. And I mean, it was, you know, you may as well be drawing in, I think, Microsoft Paint. That's what I think what he said to them, which is pretty funny. And but look, as I said, look, if you found something that's working for you and you're happy with it, that's great. So as you can see, all I'm really doing here is just splitting and trimming everything, and occasionally drawing in another line. The other thing too, you might notice that when I go to pan, you actually takes away the image for a moment, which is actually kind of handy, so I can actually see where the joins are. So I'm going to trim here again. Right. There we go. Fillet. I'm going to use the fillet command here. Still got those walls there too, okay. You can start to see it's really starting to come together here now. I'm not going to, you know, draw in the furniture and things like that. I mean, well, I guess I could. I could probably do that actually, just to show you how I'd place these things, so you get an idea of how to work with curves and angles. But at this stage, I've still got a few walls to go, and I've lost a bit of my wall there. So what I'll do is, because I've lost that, so I'm going to type EX or extend. I'll make that the boundary. Press space. Extend those back over. And then what I can do is I can type trim. Select that line. Oh, okay, I'm missing a little cross there. There it is. That one. Press space. And get rid of those lines. Trim these. So I'm assuming that there's an awful lot of students who come to this channel, but I actually, yeah, I'm not really sure. You know, there's other professionals. I'm sure they probably would be come here and learn a few things. And the way I sort of got good at AutoCAD was, yeah, I did some at uni and things like that. But back in, I think it was about 2000, I picked up this book on mastering AutoCAD. I've still got it now actually. It was a great big thick textbook, and I read it pretty much cover to cover. And I mean, even doing that, it's still so much more in AutoCAD than what that could get into. But I found it, I just thought it was just an interest of mine, and so I was really into it at that point in time, and that's where I got learned about the programming aspects, and from that actually I've been making money for, well, it'll be not quite 20 years yet, but selling software that I've written, and I still sell it now. I've sold a couple of copies this week and stuff, and so it's good, you know, you sort of learn how to do things and get a good idea, you know, you can do well off something. Certainly a market out there for a lot of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this arc to join up here. So offset, click on there, you can see snaps are on. And I'm just going to press F3 to turn them off for a moment. Click about there, and then offset that line. And I'm going to do it again actually. I'm going to click here, over here. Right, so then we get that and we can trim. Right. Trim again, grab that. Let's check, that's okay I think. And we'll, I don't know what I'll do is I'll trim here, that one. I think that's right. Oh, no, I'm going to undo. What I did was, I forgot to click on that one there too. So I lost that little piece there. And as I said, I know it's not accurate here, but for the sake of the exercise, what you can actually see here too, there's actually a bit of a splay in that wall there. So I'm going to follow that line with my eye. Just draw a line there, and I'm going to fill it. And I'm going to trim. So again, I'm just doing a lot of just trimming here at the moment. Ending the trim command, starting the trim command. And here I just want to trim, select those edges, press space, and get the bits in between. So it's, it's not hard, it's just time consuming. And occasionally you make a little mistake here and there, but you can either extend the line or offset it, as you've seen me do that a few times. Trim again. Oh, trim these ones too. Fill it. There's a lot of, I only use really in AutoCAD most of the time, the same sort of commands over and over again. I mean, essentially the lines, obviously in Polyline is the most common one. I obviously use some arcs and circles. But even like now the editing tools, I mean, you've got basic drawing tools and then you've got editing tools. So what I did there was I drew an arc, and I don't know if that really is an arc, or it's two straight lines. So anyway, I will delete that for a moment and show you just because I didn't explain that. Draw an arc, or type A for arc, press space, clicked on there, clicked in roughly in the middle, and then the end. And then what I can do is I can offset it again. Offset, O for F, offset, go about there, come down. It's a little bit too far actually. So I'm going to grab that in the middle. Oops, actually I'm going to just delete it. Try that offset again. As you can see, my snaps are on there, and that's kind of what went wrong. So click on there, turn them off by pressing F3. Select it there. Still a bit far. There. That's close. So now fill it. Yeah, so as I was saying, you've only got a few main drawing tools that you use most of the time, and the rest are just a couple of editing things, and obviously fillet, trim, extend, and you got stretching and moving and copying, of course. But they're the basic ones that you really use most of the time. Maybe a few others as well, but sort of, yeah, there's not a lot of commands you need to know to create something, to draw something. Obviously then you get into, text and dimensions and things like that. trim here between these two doors. Okay, so I'm going to TR, I'm going to grab all of that, press space. A bit hard to see there. Little cursor, it's hard to see with the black. And also, if you trim something in the middle of, and you make a mistake, you can just press the U key and press space, not come back. You just trim it, so you don't have to end the command and undo it. You can do it in the middle of the command. I'll clean up the rest of that later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create change to a different color. Let's see what's going to look okay over this. I feel it's going to be easy to see on the screen for you. Maybe green, maybe a little bit better. A little bit better. And perhaps I'll just pick something darker. Still a bit hard to see a little bit. Anyway. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to draw this in here. So I'm going to type line or polyline, PL. Press F8 to make it orthogonal. Okay. I'm going to end the command. And then I'm going to come out here again. Press F3, so it snaps on there. And I'm going to draw a line just here, any length, doesn't matter. I'm going to grab it, I'm going to move it and snap it on to there. And then I'm going to rotate it, so make it hot grip, press space, and then type minus 45. Now you might have to, depending on your orientation set up with the units, in AutoCAD, you might have to, they might actually, you might just type 45 instead of minus 45. It just depends on how it's set up. I'm going to change it to magenta. I found that blue a little hard to see still. Okay. So I'll show you a couple of ways I can do this. I'll show you one way anyway. So I can, to make those curves, I can use the fillet command. So type F for fillet, and I'm going to type R for radius, and click from here to there. Roughly, that's roughly where it starts and ends. And then I've got that. This one I think should be about the same. It's around the same. Yeah. I haven't even got my block library set up on here yet, so if I do draw anything, it's going to be basic in terms of furniture, because I haven't got it to import, and I don't want to draw it all from scratch. So I'm just drawing some polylines there. Now, I've got the bath here. I'm just going to measure that using the disk command. So I'm going to measure from here, turn off F8, from here to here. It's say 780 by maybe 18 or 17, sorry. This is a small one, 1500. Oh, sorry, okay. So I'm going to draw myself a bath. Let's say 1500 by, let's say 780. Oops. I'll type C for close. Alright. So now we're going to move this. I'm going to put it here, only because as that wall doesn't line up properly, you can see the bath does line up with that wall, but I was going to line up with my wall. So I've got that there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to left click on the grip, press spacebar again, so it says rotate. Now type R for reference. So that's the first point, and we're defining the edge of the bath there, and now we're moving it to where we want it to go. So that line, that wall there. And that's pretty much how you can line things up. I mean, there's usually more than one way to do things on AutoCAD a lot of the time. And this bed here, so I'll say 990 by, I'll say 1950. Alright, again, same sort of thing. move it to approximately there. I can rotate. So R for reference, click that point, click the edge of the bed, and then just move the mouse to where I want it to go. And that's pretty much how you line those things up. I could keep going, but I think I've demonstrated the point pretty well about how to go about doing this. I'm happy to continue on, but I think hopefully people have got a fairly good idea about doing this. Same thing with the doors here. Just going to offset that from here to here. And as you can see, I've got using the purple color, so I can either select that and then change it from the drop down thing, or I can just type MA for match properties and select the red line and then just drag it over that. So as you can see here, we've got extend that, so EX for extend, and then I can type trim, and trim move in. Yeah, junction. It'll actually go right in that corner, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. Oh, I'm not worried about it at all, really. Okay. Again, I'll just change to red. Oops. Move a copy across. Now type trim, select it all. Again, just a line in there, fillet. Oh, so we've got the fillet's got that radius still. So I'm going to type R for radius, make it a 0. And I'll just put a little line in there. Alright. As you can see, we've got this going here too. I will show this area here. Okay, I'm going to press F8. And I'm going to just draw it to around the middle of those doors. Offset, so roughly here to here. Now what I can do is select that, grab the grip, press space until down here says mirror. Type C for copy, move my mouse, and there we go. And then I can trim, curve out. Okay, so I'm having a bit of trouble there with the fillet command again. That's okay, we'll just use trim. Oops. Now we can type fillet command here. That's why I think of it. I usually have, as you can see, that little crosshair in the middle there that I'm using. There's a command that you can use called pick box. You can do it from other settings as well. Mine's set to 3, but if I change that to say 8, which I probably should for the videos now I think about it, you can see a lot clearly, a lot clearer. Personally, I just find it a little bit cumbersome having it that massive. I don't even know what size you can go up to actually, but I'm sure it's bigger than this. Where it gets cumbersome is if you do have a lot going on and fine details, you can keep zooming in, but sometimes it's easier not to have to do that. And when you've got a really bigger pick box, it's actually get in the way. And erase things that you don't want to. Let's fill it in here again. A line there. Alright, so I am going to do that control. Yeah, you can really see this taking place here now. In case you're wondering what's happened then, I turned the grid off. I just pressed the F7 key. So hopefully that makes sense. I think that the biggest aspect about this was really learning about working with circles and arcs and aligning and positioning things on angles. The other basics, I think, I'd assume you'd probably have some of them already, but look, most of it I think I've covered in this anyway. I mean, you can probably fill this in by yourself now if you're continuing on. I will actually make this available, this image, on my website, or at least send a link to where the image originally came from. So if you want to follow along and do the same thing, you'll have access to it. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial to where I'm at with it at the moment. And if you do like my videos and enjoy watching them, please subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button, and also click on the little bell notification so you get updates to when new videos come out. And until next time, I hope you have a lot of fun with your AutoCAD drawings.